Jujitsu, when I hit you, then I split you.
Yo, yo.
Oh, man.
Oh. So, you know what it is about this app, though? Every time I send you one message, I got to send you another, and then it sounds better. So, at least we did it. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, we're connected now, buddy, forever.
We are connected.
We are connected for life.
Oh, man.
So, what episode is this, my friend?
Oh, my gosh. It is episode 10. Two Life Fools podcast. Boom. First double digit.
Yeah. So exciting. Yep, that's right.
We're getting there, man.
Yeah.
You've been around for like a month? Yeah, about a month, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, I think we put our first podcast out, I think the 20th of last month.
Yeah. Yes.
So, so we're rocking and rolling, man. We're just keeping pushing on and pushing our fucking free thinking movement and just getting after there. We had a really good interview with Shihan Professor Gene Dunn last week. So if you guys didn't hear that, bro, you guys got to take a listen, man. He is just like one of the coolest cats ever met.
You know what? That was my first time meeting him. Like, not just like a phenomenal storyteller, but like a phenomenal person, like martial artist. Like, my only regret was like that podcast was longer.
Oh, I know. Well, we only had so much time that day, and Gene only has so much time because he runs he runs two schools and he has his own podcast as well. So we did the best with what we got. But like I told you, man, like I've known Gene for a couple of years, and he is a phenomenal human being. And I really feel like you need to be forged in fire to know how to become a good human being. If life is easy and you haven't had trials and tribulation, had to deal with some issues, like, you don't know what life's about, man.
Yeah, you know what? I always look back on like, some of the stuff that I've been through, and I'm like, thank God, like, that stuff kind of happened to me, because I wouldn't be that person today. Some people always ask me like, oh, if you could go back, do you do anything differently? And I'm like, you know what? Maybe some small things here and there, but it's those events and those issues that happened that kind of brought me to where I am now, and I'm happy where I'm at now. So I can only imagine if I'd done things differently, where else I could have ended up. Could have been, somewhere not so favorable, I would say. Well,
dude, it makes us who we are. Like, you got to make mistakes. You gotta make the mistakes. You have to, have those trials and tribulations. Because, like, you've heard me say on the mats a bunch of times, like, without adversity, you don't appreciate shit. So, like, you drill that arm lock, 1,000 times and you still can't hit it live. And how good was the feeling when you hit that first arm lock or that first choker, dude? Even just not getting submitted for a round, like, or do something like that. It's just like, that's an accomplishment because you put in that work.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most exciting things they've seen, because, like, especially like when you're coming up and there's that higher belt that you roll with that just subs you multiple times like a match, and then that one day you go with him and for some reason he can't seem to get anything on you, and in fact you almost feel like you're almost a little bit, no, I won't say much like a step ahead of him, but you find you're actually holding your own as opposed to being completely demolished. Like, that alone itself I feel is a win.
Oh, yeah. Well, for me, it was like, did that motherfucker just let me win? But then,
I know. You almost can't enjoy it for that.
Yeah, but then you get that confidence, you get that confidence of being through it, where it's like, okay, like the first time you're like, this was a fucking fluke. But then, like, once it happens a couple times, you're like, all right. And then I think one of the biggest things is, like, especially, I haven't been a lower belt in some years now, but I've been a lower belt 3 times in 3 different systems, you know. So I've went from the bottom rung to, you know, I'm not saying the top rung. I'm somewhere in the middle right now, you know, and I'm always going to be working to, you know, like Gene said in his podcast, everybody thinks there's that top of the mountain. Once you realize it's just a really long fucking hill and you got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, then you enjoy the little things, the little accomplishments. Like, all right, I made it to 6,000 feet, but it's infinity feet, so I want to get as high as I can before I die. No pun intended. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's funny too, especially when you get older. I mean, obviously, you set your goals and your short-term goals and like your long-term goals, and like not just in life but in your training. But then there's those times, man, where I go in to train and I walk in and I walk off and I'm like, didn't get hurt.
Yep.
Like that. That's it. Like I walked onto the mat and I walked off the mat. And I was able to, actually walk to my car on my own, like, physical power. And I'm like, yep, good day. That's it.
Dude,
Fine.
dude, that's been like the past 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, getting back into it, man.
Literally the other day, I mean, like I'm sitting here with the ice pack on my knee, and it's not even like somebody tweaked it or anything. It's just like I'm old, and I'm just like, oh man, I forgot how much jujitsu is fun, but I forgot how much it hurts when you're like
Oh
out of
man,
shape.
that Friday at your place, what was that, last Friday?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, even like after that, like trying to walk from like the front of the building to the back to go to the showers, I was walking so unbelievably slow. I'm like, all right, don't let anyone see
I
that,
know.
like,
Well,
like
that
you're just
yeah,
barely hanging on by a thread.
yeah. Well, I mean, dude, we had a stacked room, so
Hmm.
I mean, anytime you have that stacked room with like and it's not like we were trying to murder each other. It's just everybody's good.
Yeah, that's
Everybody's
it.
good. So
That's
like when
exciting.
you have a room like that where like I mean in that room, besides, me right now, everybody's active competitors. Everybody's competed in the pans, the worlds, fight to wins, grappling
Yeah.
industries, and they're all purple belt, brown belt, black belt level. Like, you don't have an easy role, man. You don't have an easy
No,
role. Even Kelly, my girl, she's getting tough, man.
she is, man.
She and that's the other amazing thing. Like she's in there mixing it up with a bunch of these Neanderthals and having a good time, man.
I remember the
You
last
know?
time I taught at your place, like when I was at that one no-gi class I taught on Friday. I remember I was like showing like back takes,
Mm-hmm.
and like I was showing it to her, and I remember like watching her like hit it on like two people that were considerably like bigger than her.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like
No.
just like perfect, like textbook, and like a move I showed her like 10 minutes prior.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the great thing about the art. If you just let it sink in, you can apply it
Hmm.
on a lot of human beings, no matter size, shape, skill. Like, listen, I mean, once you get to, purple belt level, really, but like even a blue belt, man, like once you start learning how to choke a human being, it don't matter if I'm a black belt. Like if I get caught slipping and you catch me, you have the ability. You're a grown man or woman. You're gonna be able to put me to sleep. Shit, some of my 12-year-olds can put me to sleep if they get their arms around my neck,
Oh God,
So
that's
it's
scary.
like,
It's so
yeah,
scary.
yeah, but like they just have the ability, like how it is. Then they got them little bony arms, and it's like, you
Yeah,
know.
little Ginsu knives.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Oh
but
man.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the art, man.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And I think, aside from that, like I think it was yesterday, like I was gonna go train at George's in Denville,
Hmm.
and as I'm driving, he's right on Main Street, like everything was closed off, and I was like, what the hell, like is happening? Like I thought it was like an accident. So it turns out they were doing a another march, slash rally, for the events that occurred with George Floyd,
Hmm.
and I had to park, like I'm probably say like 4 blocks away,
Yeah.
from the school. But between from those 4 blocks, from where I parked to the school, there's just cops everywhere. And I'm not gonna say that I was nervous. I was just like, okay, like I know why they're out here. Like, they're here to, kind of maintain the peace, make sure nothing goes crazy. But every cop I'm walking by, like, and it's not like they were messing with me. They're just like, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?
Yep.
Like, nothing crazy. Everyone's like saying hi. Like, a couple guys, because it was like the streets were empty. And a couple of them asked me like where I was headed, and I was like, oh, I'm heading up to Henzo Denville, right up the street. And a couple of them actually stopped me. They're like, oh, like are they open? I'm like, yeah, like a couple of guys are training, and they're just like, oh, cool. Like we didn't know anything was open yet. I'm like, yeah, it's been open for about a week, and they're like, oh, cool, man, and went about their business and stuff. So it was nice, and it was interesting to see. I'm sure, there's a lot of people walking around being very cautious in this environment. So it's kind of nice to see, even like leaving for the night. They're still kind of out there, just kind of patrolling. I even had like one cop guy like didn't even know. He's like, oh, you just come from Henzo's, and I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, it's like, how was training? I was like, I'm like, it was fine. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. He's like, yeah, I was thinking about checking that out, and I was like, I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm like, go check it out. Like, you have nothing to lose, man. He was like, all right. Like, so,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's interesting.
it's a weird time, I would say,
Yes.
Drew. And me and you have talked about this, and I think we both have unique perspectives.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, anybody that can see our picture can realize we're from two different sides of the earth right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You would think that, but someone might automatically look at us and be like, we're vastly different. But obviously, when you and I talk, we have a lot in common, not just with
yes.
martial arts, but like
Well,
what we think about.
what do they say? Birds of a feather fly together.
Yeah.
Look at that. See, I'm not
So
just a pretty face, Drew. So yeah, no, man. I mean, one thing I gotta say, and just put it out there, like I'm definitely grateful to have a friend like you, just because we can have super hard conversations and not hate each other.
I'm happy because I feel there's a lot of people who aren't having those hard
Well,
conversations,
I feel,
and
yeah,
you just gotta do it. Yeah,
it's
it's gonna suck a
uncomfortable
little bit.
sometimes.
You gotta ask those questions,
Yeah.
and that's one things I've always respected about you is like you just ask those questions, and you don't ask permission either. You just ask that question, and it might be a little bit awkward, it might be a little bit hard, but you just ask the question, and there's just no malice, there's no disrespect behind it. It's like you're just trying to be informed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a bit like, and like I said, that's why I'm like super grateful and thankful that like you know that's the other thing. Like they are hard conversations to have,
Mm-hmm.
and we've said it 1,000 times, like we respect the hell out of each other, and
Yeah.
we look at each other way different. And we've said it before, like, dude, you grew up in Opakon, I grew up in
Yeah.
Jefferson, that's Sussex and Morris County, super
Yeah.
predominantly white town. Like, yeah, we've both seen racism, both, like, dude, I've done shit I'm not proud of, like I've told you, like I'd be lying to you, and I don't lie to you. Like, that's one thing I can't do, and that, but like it doesn't mean that people can't grow, and it doesn't mean that people can't work on themselves. And we both
Yeah.
know that because we've had this conversation, just like in our, like our personal lives as becoming dads and everything else. Like, dude, we
Yeah.
said it the other day, like, yo, 37-year-old me would kick the shit out of 27-year-old me. 27
Oh
year old
yeah.
me would kick the shit out of 17-year-old me. So, like that's why, when sometimes you see things brought up about people, especially like, we've talked about in the media, like, in 1983, this guy said something fucked up. And you're like, okay, well, are you the same person you were 35 years ago?
Yeah.
Now, if the person shows a fucking legitimate pattern of just being an asshole,
Yeah.
well, then there's something like, this episode is going to be going down the rabbit hole, so you guys can get ready for a ride, because me and Drew are just shooting from the fucking hip. You can fact check us. I'm going to tell you right now, I am not an expert. Drew is not an expert. So disclaimer, this is just two dudes shooting the shit. Okay. So, I mean, we have done our research on some stuff, but hey, man, like, if you hear something that, you think's funny or you think's not right, like, we're free thinkers, man. We're willing to hear your side. But at the same time, me and Drew are also willing to hear all sides and make different opinions and decisions, So,
I saw a recent, like an actual interesting interview, just kind of on with that, like what we're saying. We were talking about how people can change. So I'm trying to think of the actor's name, but he played the main character in like those Taken movies.
Which movies? Taken? Oh, Liam Neeson.
Yeah. So they're interviewing him, and he had said that a friend of his was was a woman, and she had been sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she was, when the cops had asked her who it was, she said, "Oh, it was this black guy," but she couldn't give like an accurate description.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "You know what?" He's like, "I actually want to go out and just like kick some black guy's ass."
I heard that. I heard that interview.
He's like, "I was out in the streets. He's like, I was just looking for the first black guy. I was gonna beat the shit out of him."
Well, you don't want the guy from taking. You definitely don't want the guy from taking whooping your ass.
Oh yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Trying to do the piano chord or something. But he kind of said that. I look back on that, and it's like, I think about that person, and I was disgusted. I was disgusted by the behavior that just because of that one incident.
Mm-hmm.
He said I was ready to create, essentially, take part in like a hate crime.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a hate crime. He had hatred in his
Yeah.
He had hatred in his heart towards a man of another color, so that is a hate crime. But I mean, you can also look at a hate crime as like anytime you hate somebody, it's a hate crime. There's a lot of fucking white people I don't like.
Yeah.
So is that technically a hate crime? Like if we want to look at it like that. But yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%. Like, I did hear that interview and I did also hear his rebuttal, like you said. Like he's a 40-something-year-old man. I think he's Irish, right? Is he Irish or Scottish or something? So
I think he's Irish.
Yeah, so he grew up in a different culture, different time, different area, and I mean, he's still growing as a person, and doesn't it doesn't mean that like you said, he's the same. What is it, like every 7 years we don't even have the same cells that we had 7 years ago? So technically we're a totally different human being.
Yeah,
because they're always regenerating and moving.
That path, like we're always growing, no matter if we're 37 or we're 87. Like obviously you get set in some ways, but one thing I always try to do, whether it be jujitsu or anything else, I'm always trying to learn and trying to see things from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I get mad, or anytime anytime I argue with my wife or anything, and one of the first things I try to do is try to reverse the roles and be like, okay, like, would I be pissed if like I did this or anything like that? And
and then you're like, no, absolutely not. She's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm perfect. Like, I don't understand why she's pissed.
Yeah.
Like,
Nah.
But
I get you, bro. I'm teasing. Like, yeah, no, totally, man. Like, it's hard though, dude. Like, I know, like somebody like me sometimes too. Like, I'm stubborn, and I'm opinionated, but I don't shoot my opinion everywhere all the time. But like, the people around me, they know who I act, they know who I am, and they know that I'm not going to take stuff sitting down. And if I got to say something, I'll say it. I'm not scared to. And it's not being like a tough guy thing. It's just that's how I've always been built. I mean, that's one reason I had to learn how to fight, because I can't shut my mouth if something's not right. But it is tough, especially like relationship wise, is to flip that script and really look and be like, okay, if I was in their shoes, how would I feel?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the climate we're in now, where it is tough for some people to put themselves in other people's shoes. But then I don't know if you see this too. I see a lot of fucking white people virtual signaling like a mother. And it's just like, bro, if you got to put your shine that hard on the world, are you legit? Like, that's just how I look at it. Like, I could be wrong. You can all hate me. You can crucify me. But like, how do you feel? Like, do you feel like, okay, me being, your white friend, I guess, right? So, I mean, you're just my friend, but like, okay, how would you describe me? Yo, my white boy over there, right? Like, and I would not take, I don't say, hey, my black boy over there, but I'm like, yo, my brother over there. Like, it is what it is. But like, putting yourself in other people's shoes, seeing the virtual signaling, how do you feel like when somebody's like going over the top, like in my way? Or do you want me as your friend to speak up, to be like, hey, I got your back, when I got your back, ride or die either way, but you feel like I'm being an asshole if I'm not like posting on social media?
No, you know what? And that's one thing too. I like when I look at people like doing certain things, or like, working towards certain causes, like, my thing is like, I know you're trying to get that message out there, but when I see it, just blast it every 5 seconds. I mean,
it's a turn off.
Like, taking a sidebar from that. When I see someone like, you see a picture of someone like handing a cheeseburger or a piece of food to like a homeless person, and they're doing like a selfie while they're doing
Yeah,
it.
that fucking
And it's like,
drives me
really?
nuts,
It's like,
bro. Just give the guy his
it's like,
hamburger and keep walking.
yeah, do you really need to like post about it and be like, oh, feeding the homeless or whatnot? It's like, just do just like, give the guy his piece of food, or do your service or whatnot, and like, you don't always have to just post it, because then I feel like, are you really doing it because it's the right thing, it's something that makes you feel good, or you're just doing it so it looks good on the gram?
Well, that's my thing. And we have talked about this before, because like for me, it's
Yeah.
like actions speak louder than words. Like I don't
Yeah.
say it, I do it. And yes, there are ways that you could use words where they're a powerful message. Like, words do have meaning, but actions have bigger meaning. And every politician in the world, do as I say, not as I do, right? So, it's like one of those things. Like I certain subjects, I don't feel like I need to speak out, because the people that know me know my actions. You know what I'm saying? Like, in your heart of hearts, I'll lay down in front of a fucking truck for you. Like, that. Yeah. So, like, I don't have to be like, yeah, my boy Drew. And I have, like, because, like, I see it all the time. They're like, oh, my friend, my cousin, my brother, my aunt, my half-sister, my cousin's best friend's mother's cousin's brother, second removed, is black. So, you don't understand. And it's like, bro, like, just because I don't go around and be like, hey, yeah, like, I mean, I'm saying it now, so I'm not trying to virtual signal, dickheads, okay? Yeah. But, like, dude, you remember Troy? Yeah, okay, so Troy, like, even he lost both his parents within literally like 2 months span. His mom died in some freak thing. His dad died in a car accident on 80. Okay, this kid was 22-year-old kid. All right, he lost both his parents. What did I do? He was a student of mine at the time. Now, I haven't seen him in years, but like student of mine at the time, he was fighting for me. So what did I do? I literally went to his father's house, helped him clean up. He didn't know what to do. He's a 21-year-old kid. I helped him clean out his father's house, brought all his paperwork to my mother. My mother sorted out all the insurance information, all the stuff. So this way he can, get his father's life insurance, could get the father's property, be able to sell this, be able to sell that, and then did all that stuff. And the kid disappeared on me after I helped him and everything else. Shows up on my doorstep 6-7 months later and ends up living with me for 2 months. Okay. Rent free, bought him clothes, bought his food. He slept in the same room as my infant child that just had gastrosthesis surgery, premature, everything else. Leaves out of nowhere again and comes back and lives with me for 3 months. And then I haven't seen him in 6 months, or probably like 6 years. Okay. So now in that whole story, if I told you that, what would you think?
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, if I heard all that, I'd be like, geez, like, you kind of help this person out. And like, they were kind of in and out, and be like, all right. I'm like, I've kind of been in the same boat where I've kind of helped people and they disappeared. I'm just
so,
like that.
But that's not even a point. Like, my point is like, okay, now people look at me and they might be like, oh, he's a motherfucker. He don't say nothing. Now, if I told you that child, I call him a child because, like, he's a young man, but he was black, like, racist still. Or do I need a virtual signal and let you know that he was a black kid that lived with me? No. He was a kid that needed help. And I helped him. And even though I didn't get the help back, like, I can put my head down on my pillow at night and know I did the right thing by him. Yeah. So, like, that's like my thing. Like, I do my things. My actions speak louder than words. Yeah. Have I said fucking fucked up shit? Yeah. What do I tell you all the time? All the time. Racist stereotypes exist because they're fucking true. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're real motherfuckers. Like, but that's the thing. We can laugh. We can laugh together. Yeah. We can talk about this. We're not mad at each other for this stuff because we're just like, bro, we're boys. We're brothers, So it's like, and better than anybody, like, when you guys are boys, you make fucking fun of each other. You bust each other's balls as hard as you can. But nobody else is going to fuck with my brother, And I think that's how it needs to be, and it needs to be handled. Now, speaking up, because I know you, like you're not like a forefronter to be like, all right, let everybody hear my shit, But I mean, like we said, it's a touchy subject, and I know C did something the other day about a frontliner and people catching arrows. Some people want to catch the arrows; they accept catching the arrows. Some people sit at the back. Some people sit in the middle. So I thought that was a good point. But this conversation obviously needs to be had in our communities. And, but the problem is I think everybody's so scared to even have them because they don't have a friend like you or me where we can have these conversations. There's no place like I'd hate to say it because, I hate these fucking sissy whatevers, but like, a safe space to have these conversations where you're not going to get crucified for asking the questions and it's not ignorance. It's just, you don't know. Sometimes you're not stupid. It's just that you don't know. You haven't had the information presented to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I feel like, with everything going on, it needs to be. So now that we got that out of the way, everybody knows where me and Drew pretty much stand on this shit, Rabbit hole. Ready? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So what about like everything else going on? Like, okay, the George Floyd, like I told you something pretty fucking, one of the theories going around, and everybody says conspiracy theory, but we've talked about this a lot too.
Yeah.
When does it stop becoming a conspiracy when it's happening in real time and things are being proven true? So let's start like, okay, Russia. They kept saying it was collusion, it was collusion, it was collusion. Oh, well, since the Black Lives Matter movement's been going on and since COVID's been going on, nobody realizes that there's 52 Obama officials subpoenaed to testify. Nobody knows that Hillary Clinton was supposed to be in court on Monday, sent 6-7 lawyers last Monday, and they're making her show up to testify about all those emails and everything else, and they're finding all these different counts wrong with this whole thing, and they basically just lied about everything. And they kept saying they lied and everybody, and now they go, oh, that happened 2 years ago. Just forget about it. Oh, so you can slam shit down somebody's throat, but when they throw it back up at you, now you don't want to drink it. So, like, what the fuck's going on here, Drew?
Yeah, I think like you and I were like talking like this morning, like kind of like I don't know if you want to call it conspiracy, but like the fact that everything's kind of been lifted for the most part, but for some reason it's just they're still keeping gyms closed.
And what did you say when you were driving around? What was your epiphany?
And it was so weird because, like I said, I was driving to pick up my daughter. And I was just like, I'm like, all right, so this is the day that they lifted the stay-at-home order, and everything was starting to open up. And I'm just like, all right, everything's open, like but I'm like gyms are still closed. I'm like, you hear you keep hearing this overarching theme, or this one thing I always kind of pops up in my feed in Facebook is that COVID was essentially
yeah.
And I was like, oh god. So then, I took a step back. I'm like, all right, so what the fuck's a psyop anyway? Like, what's the definition? So, when I was looking at it, it's like, it's essentially using information to influence people's like objective reasoning, their emotions, and decisions. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's one way. That's what a psyop is. And it's like, all right, well, everyone knows that, the gym in general, whether it's jujitsu, lifting, CrossFit, or anything, that's where people kind of go to, relieve that stress and to really help with their mental health. So now you've taken that away
for 3
completely.
months, 4 months.
Everything else open.
Yeah.
3 months. You've taken that away completely. And now you have people essentially locked in their houses, not able to either go to their office, not be able to work, period. And you've taken away their essential outlet. I mean, you can only go on so many walks around the neighborhood before you're kind of like, all right, I need to kind of like move around and kind of do something. So you've taken all this away, and now essentially everything's been lifted, and you still won't open gyms. So I'm kind of like fuck. And it's hard because you see that, but then also, I'm not saying like the disease isn't real, because you can see there's people who have been getting sick, and there are people who passed away from it. But I'm just like, all right, what's the purpose for keeping gyms closed but everything open?
Okay,
now? Like,
so this is my take. All right, ready? All right, you ready? So, okay, what's the first thing they tell you to do if you are depressed? Go to the gym, work out, release those endorphins, create a healthy habit. What's the first thing they tell you if you go to NA or AA? Create new habits. You should start working out. That's a great outlet. That's a good addiction to get addicted to. Okay, my debit card, the expiration date got messed up, so I didn't pay my health insurance for like last month. While I'm on hold, hey, the best thing to do for your health is go to the gym. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Join a group fitness class, blah, 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 blah. So this is the health insurance company telling you to do this as well, right? So now they just took everybody who has any sort of addiction problem, stress problem, depression problem, anything like that, whatever. Like, you don't like furry animals, whatever it is, okay? Locked them in their house for 3 months and told them that they were going to die if they talked to another human being and they touched the same fucking door handle as them. Put everybody in there and said, you're going to die. And then they pressure cook it and they just feed it to you. And everybody's just locked inside. And they just keep telling you death toll 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. You're going, oh shit. Oh, shit's getting weird, man. Uh-oh, everybody's dying around me. There's morgues. They're building hospitals. There's a ventilator shortage. Everybody needs a ventilator. You need one in your home. You need one in your car. You need one over here. And they're just slamming this down your throat. Now, me, I'm outside the box type of guy. So I look at it and I'm doing it and I'm looking at it and I'm like, the numbers don't make sense, man. Doesn't make sense. Now, not saying that the virus isn't real. We both said that. But so does everybody lock themselves in the house? Like, there's AIDS. There's SARS-1. There's H1N1. There's fucking typhoid. There's malaria. There's Ebola. There's flesh-eating bacteria. There's staph infections. There's this. Do we lock ourselves in the house? What is going on?
No.
There's so many things out there that are super deadly, super this, super that. Now everybody's going to go, oh, but we don't know enough about this. Well, I literally had a guy on Facebook today. He goes, he's talking about the virus and he's like, it's coming back because why? COVID, Black Lives Matter movement didn't take as much weight as it's taking weight, but it's not doing exactly what, the higher powers that be want it to do. So now that it's slowing down, everything's opening up. Oh, the cases are spiking. Oh, people open too early. Oh, Fauci literally just goes back and forth every day. And everybody's like, trust the science, trust the man. How can you trust the science when they're giving you different numbers every day? And then if you trust the science that they said 2 days ago, we should be living how we should be living. If you trust the science that they said 2 days before that, we should be locked in a plastic bottle like John Travolta in that 1970s movie. Okay? So, you have to make your own educated decision. Now, anything that has a 99.98% survival rating, I'm good. A condom's at 99.9. Okay? So, and I know some of you mother lovers have went in without one. That's like you not wearing your mask all day. So, did you take the chance for victory? Yes, you did. Okay? So, we got to start looking at this and why are they doing this? What is going on? Right? So, that's just, a little bit of the take on the mental health in gyms is you lock people inside for months, force feed them negative thoughts, and then you still, once you let them out, now they're fucking pissed. Black people are pissed. Yeah. Small business owners are pissed. White people are pissed. Democrats are pissed. Republicans are pissed. Everybody's fucking pissed. It's a pressure cooker. And everybody's looking to point the finger at somebody else. Yeah. But we need to come together and realize that people are trying to pit us against each other. What's the easiest way? What is that saying? So divide and conquer, right? Divide the people, it's easy to conquer. But if we all have one voice, but the problem is some people ain't waking up. And that's the thing. You've talked to me over the years and you're like, you say some crazy shit. And over the past 3 months, you're like, your crazy shit is not as crazy to me anymore. Right? So, so we talked about that. What was the other thing we talked about a little bit earlier? The cloth, right?
Someone else, like I say, someone else had texted me that, and I was like, really?
All right. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, is do you know the name of it? The Kenneth cloth. Keeney's cloth, whatever, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and all the, the
Yeah.
Democrats, they took that picture kneeling with the African cloth on. I think it's the Kenneth cloth it's
Hmm.
called, and it's originally from the Asante tribe. Okay.
Yeah.
So me and you talked about this and we're like, yeah, like, yo, if that ain't like, this is the same thing that cracks me up. Like, whether you're Democrat, Republican, whatever, I don't care. This is hypocrisy at its finest. Who are the same people that told you couldn't culturally appropriate? Like a white dude with dreadlocks,
Yeah.
like, oh, you like, dude, I'm a Tribe Called Quest fan. What? I can't wear a Tribe Called Quest shirt because I'm culturally appropriating? But then the
Yeah.
same people that tell you not to do that are walking around in African garb, bro. There's multiple videos of them saying
Fucked up,
that,
right?
and then they're walking around doing exactly what they said you couldn't do. So do as I say, not as I do. Once again. Now, the
Yeah.
meaning of that. What's the meaning of that we found out, Drew?
Wasn't that? I'm trying to think. Wasn't that? Because I saw like I saw four different like texts, and someone told me like that cloth is essentially worn by like slave
Okay,
masters.
so yeah, pretty much. Like, so basically, not slave masters, but the
Yeah.
Asante tribe. The I think from what I read, the cloth was originally made for kings and queens. Okay, it was only made by the men
Gotcha.
because they didn't want the women to make it, because literally, this is what it said, because the menstrual cycle would have gotten in the way and they wouldn't have been able to, produce the cloth over and over again at a continuous rate. So that's what it was.
Mhm.
But the Asante tribe was like the head tribe of that Western Africa, where the slave trade came out of. Okay.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
I guess the kings and queens, when they would, war their tribes and take over a tribe, they basically would sell the slaves to the Portuguese, and the Portuguese would bring them over to the New World. So basically, they're
Yeah.
wearing a cloth that was part of the heads of the slave trade in Africa. So
Yeah.
how fucked up is that too? First you tell not to culturally appropriate, and now you're kneeling and you have the slave trade, and you want everybody else to bow down to the head slave masters? Come on,
Yeah.
bro. Yo, like us or hate us, we're just giving you real thoughts that go through our heads. Like,
Yeah.
but like, we could have these conversations because we're not jerk offs and we think about shit. Like,
Yeah.
like
It's interesting when you have multiple people kind of text you about one thing. I'm like, oh, you see this, you see that, and like that was the like kind of the overarching theme I got today, and I was yeah, it's I don't know, man. It stirs up a lot of
right?
different emotions. But
Emotions, like, I mean, obviously for you, a ton of different emotions, but for me, like, it's just deception. For me, the emotion it stirs
yeah,
up for me is just deception. Like, we're being deceived.
yeah,
And it
yeah,
sucks because they're trying to hijack a legitimate movement of equality and everything else, but they're playing the same old playbook. Put them together, use this to our advantage, and boom, and throw it right in their face, and they don't even know. But
yeah,
unless you educate like us and we look shit up on that Google box. But I mean, it's just
yeah,
it's crazy, crazy. So I mean, if you follow some stuff, in the free thinking world, there's also a lot of things about listen, we've had this conversation. Donald Trump is not perfect, man. He is not a perfect man. But if any of
yeah,
you can stand up right now and tell me you are a perfect man, I can call you a liar, because I know I'm not perfect. Drew, you know you ain't perfect. Like, and like we
yeah,
just said, you can learn, you can grow, right? But Trump's done a lot
yeah,
that has been overshadowed for the black community. I was literally just watching the round table with, I think, the black representatives for, the community. And he sat down at a round table, like, what do you want? What are you looking for? What do you feel? What do you? And there's a lot of people that have his back. Now, he's done a lot of reform, He got rid of a lot of bad policies that Biden and a lot of people put in before place. And it's like, listen, the same people that have been in power for decades are telling you they're going to change it next year. Next year, they're going to change it. You had 44 years, Biden. You've done fucked up shit, and you haven't changed a goddamn thing. Pelosi, Schumer, all that stuff, right? Now, doesn't mean that there's not fucked up people on the Republican side. I've said it 1,000 times. There's left wing and there's right wing, and there's the same bird. Donald Trump, love him or hate him, he's an anomaly, man. He's an anomaly. Nobody thought that dude would win. I remember the night he was elected, I looked at my wife and I was like, yo, can you believe the guy from The Apprentice is the president? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I actually went to bed that night. I didn't even bother to stay up because I had to be up early for work. But I remember like waking up like the next day, and my wife like just like elbowed me, like looked over and she's like
what?
Trump won. And I was
yeah.
like, oh shit. I was like, all right, and like I said, I remember like right after he won, I remember when they had like Saturday Night Live and like Dave Chappelle was on, and in the beginning, Dave Chappelle was like, you know what, it's like I'm gonna give him a chance because he said initially if he loses, we lose.
Well, that's what I said with Obama too. Like, I mean, did I like him? Did I like his policies? Do I like anything he did? No, but he was the president, so I'm like, of course I want him to do good. If our country does good, we all do good. So whether I liked him or not, and it wasn't like I was rooting for him to fail. I wanted him to do well. And everybody, they love him, they love him, they love him. But now they're finding out that he might be one of the most corrupt presidents of all time. Spying on his own political opponents, using the FBI, using the CIA. Like, it's not like they're subpoenaing one dude, two dudes, 10 dudes, 20 dudes, 30 dudes, fucking 52 people. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You don't see that shit every day, man. And now that the script's flipped, it's like, oh, let's forget about it. So you've just been literally slamming down the American public's throat, Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. President, impeachment, he's a spy, he's a Russian asset, he hates women, he hates black people. Now, this is my other thing on Trump being a total racist, and this is just my thing. The guy was a boxing promoter, owned casinos. Every black person that ever met him said that they love him. How many rap songs were they like, I want to be on my Donald Trump shit. I want to have the money like Donald Trump. How many songs have you heard that in? Tons. So now all of a sudden he's the most racist man in the world? I don't get it. Can't have your cake and eat it too. But like you said, we've had this conversation before too. Like, what made you nervous when it's like, okay, I'm sitting there watching TV, I'm a black guy, my wife's white, my daughter's biracial, and there's people walking around with fucking torches down in the South, and like he didn't say fuck it.
Oh yeah, dude. Of course. There's a lot of people. My one of my biggest things was like when you saw like this kind of rise in kind of like hate crimes and like things like that, especially when you saw like the marches and things like that. It was like, yeah, I saw that rise and I was like, Jesus, like is this gonna be it? Like this is gonna be like, kind of the norm now. Now you're gonna start. People are gonna assume that now he's president, assume that he's, this raging racist, and now it's okay to do these things. Now it's okay to go on marches with tiki torches, or now it's okay to kind of, do this. So that was one of
legitimate concern. I think we can all agree, right? Okay, so but this is the thing that kills me too. So like let's go back to George Floyd right now, right? So we go back to George Floyd. Everybody is burning their own people. They're eating their young. The liberal, like Democratic cities with the Democratic mayors, where Antifa's going into, dude, they just stormed Seattle's City Hall, and they were in Seattle City Hall, like the Democratic mayor who like gave them everything, did everything. They stormed her hall and want her to defund the police and all this other stuff right now. So this is over George Floyd, correct? So. But everybody forgets in the Obama administration how many of these things happened. Trayvon Martin, Gardner. There was like 15 of these, uncalled for killings under the Obama administration. Okay? And nobody was like, Obama brought everybody together. Why wasn't everybody pissed off then? Why don't you think they weren't pissed off then? I'm asking. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand. So, like, with this. So now, rabbit hole number 2, right? Remember the theory I told you about this? About Floyd? One of the theories going around on the interwebs is, there's mass arrests going on, so on and so forth. And in certain communities, they're like, okay, well, they call it the awakening or whatever. And, they said, the first big to wake up the public, Republican and Democratic side, to show that there's some evil motherfuckers out there that are doing some really nasty shit. Basically, that they were going to have, one big reveal to the world, and it's going to show that the mainstream media has been lying to everybody, that the Democratic Party's been lying to everybody. And one of the theories is they have George Floyd alive, and they're going to bring him out. So, whether you believe it or not, it's a theory. We're not saying we're all in on it, but like, boom, what would that do to the psyche of the world right now? Like so many people are fighting for him. So many people are marching for him. So many people are riding this man's back, right? And what happens if it was a fraud?
Yeah.
Dude, like, what the fuck? No, I'm not saying like, okay, like, I'm an asshole of a human being I'm just presenting information I'm hearing, and I want you guys to think at it from all perspectives. Me and Drew talked about it. We're trying to figure it out, and we're throwing off theories, facts, whether, stuff behind it, stuff not, because you've seen all the shit. The police officer doesn't even have the same ears as the guy that's in the mugshot. Have you seen that? Okay, any of us look at that. Give me your honest opinion. Does that look like the same motherfucker?
When you look at it like straight on, you see some of the facial there are some facial similarities, but when they focus on the ear thing, you're kind of like,
so
shit.
I guess maybe bad question to ask you, because all white people look the same to you. So
oh yeah, obviously.
So, but like, bro, we know something. Like, we have cauliflower ears, we have jammed up ears, like we have very your ears are fingerprints.
Well, that's the thing. You look at like the one picture, it looks like one of his ears looks like it's cauliflowered in one picture, or like kind of like star name cauliflower.
He looks like the fucking Keebler elf with a pointy ear. Okay, so like, and it's lower, and his earlobes are different, and like that's the whole thing. Like, and I know it's been said because they use it on like facial recognition and stuff. Like, ears are almost like your inner ear doesn't change, I guess. Like the inside of your ear that goes into the ear canal, like it's like, it looks like a seashell, right? That's how it funnels the sound. Okay, so it's almost like a fingerprint. Doesn't really change. Like, you can have plastic surgery on the outside of your ears, your earlobes, all that other stuff, but like your inner ear, like they don't really change that. Can't really be changed because it's it's on side. So if you look at that guy's ear, like that ain't the same ear, man. It's not. So like whether you like obviously, like, whatever went down was unnecessary, and everybody agrees. I haven't seen one person that said it was the right thing. Police, white, black, brown, yellow, whatever. I haven't seen one person that were like, fuck yeah, you should have knelt on that motherfucker's neck longer. No, not at all. Not at all. Right? Same time, then what was the other rabbit hole we went down? Fucking the guy who did the autopsy on his body apparently did the autopsy on JFK. Apparently has done the autopsy. 85-year-old guy, like, you bring in this ringer that's like, an autopsy person. Don't you usually have like the county clerk or the county coroner do but they fly these guys in that have this guy's done 6 of the most high profile cases ever. So how did this guy become, first of all, this high profile of a case that quick, and was autopsied that quick by one of the guys who did the same autopsy as John F. Kennedy? Okay, that doesn't make sense. Like, why wouldn't you just use like coroner from Minneapolis to do it? You know, like I'm sure he was qualified, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, dude, I know nothing about coroners, but like, I'm pretty sure if he was the head coroner of Minneapolis for many years, being a bigger city, he's seen some shit. So, you know, because then everybody was like, well, he was high on, he had meth and fentanyl in the system and like 4 or 5 other drugs. And he was passing fake 20s. So, you know, he was passing counterfeit money. That's the other thing. Then he was hanging around for an extra 20 minutes for the cops to get there. He had drugs, you know, and then that's what I said too, because everybody's like, oh, you're bringing up a man's past. And like, people can change. But if there's a rep, like, you know, then I'm sure you heard it too. Like, he was in jail for 5 years for holding up a pregnant lady with a gun to her stomach and all that other stuff. Now, what happened to him is absolutely, it doesn't matter if you're good, bad, ugly, right? But now, like, you're putting it to this level where our nation is trying to eat each other, and maybe the facts aren't all there. And what happens, like I said, what happens if they got this motherfucker? And then he comes out and they're like, oh yeah, here's George. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, what would that do to the psyche of the nation?
Yeah, well, no one ever trusts
Dude,
media
I'm telling you
again
right
after
now,
that,
I don't think 90% of the world trusts the media right now. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, I still see some people post like CNN is like the see all be all, but like, dude, I look at CNN like right now, like the Huffington Post, like the Hill, like whatever other media, like MSNBC, any of that, Fox even, bro. Oh, you're fucking you're a Republican. Like, dude, I don't even trust Fox, bro. And like, I watched them post some shit today. Like I've been seeing it a couple times. And just the verbiage they're using, and it's like, oh, you're just stoking the fire. Oh, okay. So that's why it's like, man, like, you really got to just do your own thing. It sucks because, like, when you were a kid growing up, right? What was the thing? CNN, man, trust all, be all. What happens if they've been lying to us for 70 years? Well,
yeah. It was either
or
CNN or
C-SPAN.
MSNBC or
Yep,
you know,
right.
the
Like
older
when you
folks
were a
was
kid, it was
C-SPAN.
CNN and C-SPAN, right? That was what you would watch. But it's just like, now it's like, bro, if they were lying to you that long, now you can go down rabbit hole number 3, Operation Mockingbird. What's that? Everybody know? Anybody know what Operation Mockingbird is? CIA psyop on literally documented. Chase money. This is the big thing too. Anytime you can follow money, like, people don't pay things for no reason. Like, Drew, do you give away money?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't give away money either, unless I'm paying for something. How about you? Okay, so you follow the money trail. This is documented, so you guys can go look this shit up. You don't believe me? I don't care. I'm just telling you. I'm giving you what I'm putting out there, and if you want to fucking go look it up, go look it up. You want to call me crazy son of a bitch? Call me crazy son of a bitch, because I'm okay with myself. So, like, Operation Mockingbird, basically CIA op, to synopsis this for you, and it was the whole thing on how the CIA controls the mainstream media, and they are the ones that clear everything to put it out there. It's documented. I think it had started happening in don't quote me on the exact dates. I think like the 40s or 50s, because I think originally the CIA wasn't even like established till like the 30s or 40s. It used to be like the OSS after World War II. Then it was like the Operation Secret something, and then they turned it into the CIA. So this is documented shit that, like, Operation Mockingbird, the CIA controls the mainstream media. And then you're like, oh, there's so many different channels. Everybody would have to be in on it. Well, every one of these channels is owned by 3 or 4 major conglomerates that are all owned by the same people. So even though you have Fox, C-SPAN, you know, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, whatever, they're all owned by one company. or the other 6 of them are owned by another. And then Disney owns this one, and then this one, that one, you know? Like, so it's just like, dude, like, there's too many things that connect for you to just be like, you are a crazy conspiracy theorist. Well, you know, the shit's playing out real time, a-holes. So, you know, you can't just not knock it. Like, at least do your research. Don't just pass it off as, because, like, that was the thing that literally in the House committee today, they were talking, I think, about police funding or something, or defunding. That's what they're talking about right now, right? Defunding the police departments, which is the dumbest thing you can do. Like, what, you don't think? Like, that's the other thing I don't get with gun reform. Like, okay, like, yo, you know me, I'm a gun-toting mother lover. Like, I am a Second Amendment loving person, but does anybody in their right mind think a bad person cares about what laws? Like, oh, you can only carry 6 bullets. Well, I have an illegal gun and I want to kill people. Like, I'm going to take 3,000 bullets. But the people that, like me and you, that just want to protect our families, oh, you can only have 6. But that guy who doesn't do any of the background checks, any of the fingerprints, any of that stuff, like New Jersey has the toughest gun laws. You have to be like I had to fill out a reference sheet for you. Somebody had to fill out a reference sheet for me. Somebody had to fill out a reference sheet for them. State police checks it. You get fingerprinted. You get background checked. Child support. You don't get it. Like, it's like extensive. You can't just walk in and buy a gun in Jersey. You have to get a firearms ID card. You have to do all that shit, right? So I just don't understand how people think like, oh, that's cool. That's gonna happen. you know.
Yeah.
So,
and like, I get it too. Like, I mean, when they were doing like, the rally, like right in front of my house, I think it's like 2 weeks ago, and like there's cops out there, and like they have the canines out there and doing everything. And one of the cops like walked up to me, had his dog, and he's just like, he said, "Hey, good afternoon." He's like, "Hey, listen, I just have the dog out here. He's just gonna be sniffing around, just checking, just as a precaution." And there's part of me, it's like, yeah, man, I have to say, like, I'm actually happy.
Well, like, fuck, man, your
that.
family lives there, and what happens if somebody wants to Boston bomb that shit? Another psyop, another fucking operation.
Yeah.
But continue. But like,
yeah, but I told him, I was like, yo, I'm happy you're here, because listen, right where the rally
it's
was,
in your
my house
front yard.
was right there.
It's in
with
your
my
front
wife
yard
and my child.
Like,
there, so I'm like, I'm happy,
dude.
I'm happy
Yeah,
you're doing your job.
Listen, and has there been problems with policing and racism? I think we can all agree that. I mean, it's 2020 now too, and it sucks that certain things are still happening. But I think we've talked about this before. Like, America is like in its young 20s right now. Like, we haven't been around the Roman Empire thousands of years, the Egyptian empires thousands of years. Like, we've only been at this shit for like what, for 200-300 years. So in the grand scheme of things, that's a in the eye, so, I mean, like, we're still learning, we're still growing. I think, as a community, I think we definitely have grown a ton. Is there always room for improvement? Like we talk about with training and we talk about with this and education, but it's just like, defund the police, less education, do this, do that. Like, you can't have all that happening and expect people to get smarter. Okay, make people feel not safe and then take away education and only tell them what you want them to hear. Like, it just kills me, like, how some people, like, you just want to shake them and be like, wake the fuck up, So, but yeah, it's one of those things, man, where it's crazy times right now. Crazy times.
It really is, and like I said, like I'm riddled on a daily basis with anxiety and fear and like anger, just with all that stuff. So on any given day, on top of having a family, being a father, like you have 1,000 different emotions flowing through at one single point in time. So with this on top of it, you're like shit, especially with they talk about the one thing, like I was talking to one of my friends who's a teacher today about the distance learning. And I was asking him, like, well, I'm like, how's that going? Like, and he's just like, honestly, man, it's the teacher.
It's terrible.
He's like, dude, it's a joke. He's like, I give him like an assignment once a week. I talk to him once a week. He's like, I can't. He says, I can't do this. He's like, I need to be at school. I need to be interacting with my students on a daily basis. He's like, that's the way you got to do it. He's like, this whole setup.
It doesn't make sense. Well, that's like, dude, like my son's kindergarten teacher. Now, my son had a really weird kindergarten this year. So, like, he was in Roxbury, and then halfway through before Christmas, they added another class. So they switched his teacher, and then we moved in January. So he went to the school he's at now, and he had another teacher for like 4 or 5 weeks, and then Corona happened. So he's had 3 kindergarten teachers, okay? So his first year of school was 3 kindergarten teachers and learning from home, okay? Now, luckily he's got brothers, and he's got us, and he's got the school, and he's got, you know, like, so he's socialized and all that other stuff. But like, how weird is it, like, especially in your first and second and third grade year, to see your teacher and they would have to keep you in a bubble? First of all, we got kids. Like, how are you going to keep a 5-year-old in a plastic container all day? Second of all, the teacher, like, a kid can't see if the teacher's happy, mad. Like, they don't communicate all the way well. They don't read. You know, I mean, Gav's reading now, but like, you know, they're learning how to write. They're learning how to read. They're learning how to communicate with other members of society. And now you put a mask on them and tell them to sit in a chair, and you think that's fucking normal? Like, kids need to see expressions. Like, how does your kid that you can't speak with right now, because your daughter's younger, how does she know if you're being business? Your face. How does she know if you're happy? Your face.
Yeah.
Because you can say, "Hey, pretty little girl, I love you so much." Blah, blah. All she hears is wah, 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 wah. But she go, "Daddy smile. Daddy mad. Uh-oh. Daddy moving fast. Daddy moving slow. Daddy's nervous." Like, she reads your body language. She reads your facial expressions. She reads the, you know, even though she doesn't understand the words, the tone of your voice, all that stuff. Like, you need that. That's part of child development, right? Would we agree on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she sees it, like, and she can see, and like the way, and I could see the way I kind of move, and like, you know, like I said,
hell yeah.
face,
So now
she reacts to that. Like, I see, she smiles or she doesn't smile based on, you know, how I'm conveying that, and I feel, you know, students need that, and students also need that interaction too. Like, that kind of goes back to like those seniors who weren't able to have like a graduation ceremony.
Prom. They didn't have prom. They didn't have graduation.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't get to do those things. And, you know, people are like, "Oh, well, you know, if we had to keep the kids away from each other to save a life, you know, it was well worth it." Okay. Like, that's one side of the coin, right? What's the other side of the coin? How many fucking kids you made depressed that might kill themselves? How many fucking people that, like, you know, like, there's so many different things that can be coming from that. And, you know, a life's a life. Absolutely. 100%. Nobody's debating that ever, I don't think. Like, you know, like, are you going around promoting mass murder, Drew? I'm not. But I'm also a realist. Like, I know I'm going to die, Drew. It's a given. We're born, pay taxes, die. Like, nobody outruns death. Nobody. The greatest athletes, the most powerful men and women ever, you know, the greatest entrepreneurs, the best, you know, the greatest presidents, the greatest kings. Nobody outruns time, and they all die. You know, some of the greatest kings of the world died shitting their pants, dying from some sort of black plague or flu, and it doesn't matter. But like, something's gonna get everybody. But if you live in that fear, man, like, that's not living, that's surviving. Going back to the mask, this is fear, and it's you know, I understand everybody's in like self-preservation mode, but what they're making you think is like, oh, you're selfish. You're selfish because you don't want to save Nana. You don't want to save little Timmy. Like, dude, when's the last time you picked to get sick? Were you like, oh, I just want to have the norovirus and shit and throw up all day? When's the last time you're like, yo, give me that flu, son? Okay, nobody picks to get sick. Dude, nobody picks it.
Convenient time, too.
You can't stop that. Now, you can take precautions, and we're taking precautions. But if the precautions don't make sense, why are you taking it's unnecessary. I feel, my personal opinion, they're making the mask to dehumanize us so we look at each other like numbers. And we can't see if somebody's sad. We can't see if somebody's happy. We can't hug somebody because they're scared. Why? Divide and conquer. Take away the human connection. Take away the facial expressions. Take away the hugging. Take away all that stuff. Take the families apart. What's wrong? A family unit, right? So take the family. Oh, don't let grandma come over. You might kill grandma by giving her a hug. Yo, that shit don't fly with me, bro. It doesn't. Like, we all get sick. Like, I've been really sick. You've been really sick. Like, we never chose to get sick. And every time that I've gotten sick, it wasn't like, oh, I was being reckless. I was being overly cautious. And I still got sick. So if it's your time, your body says, fuck you, you're going to get it. Like I said, nobody picks to get sick. So we're just doing something that's ridiculous. right now, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. You can like me, you can hate me. I don't give a fuck. That's my opinion. But it makes sense a little bit, right?
Yeah. And like, yeah, and like I've been trying to, obviously you still need the mask for like, me going to retailers or whatnot, but especially when
First
I'm
of all,
outside, put that
retailers,
mask
it's
on.
not mandatory, it's suggested. And everybody keeps saying it's mandatory. But if you listen to the governor, he's pushing it and trying to put it in this grayest area ever. But then they'll be like, oh, well, the masks are suggested when you can't social distance. Okay, so if you're in a store like and you're social distancing, you don't really need the mask. You're only supposed to put the mask on when you can't social distance. And then it goes back to what? Episode 3, mask versus mask, right? Mask versus no mask. The mask debate.
Yeah.
Right? That's such a good word, right? So it goes back to that. Like, we did the research on it. Like, for the coronavirus, well, that week when the CDC says it's this and then the WHO says it's that. Now the WHO says, oh, asymptomatic people don't really spread it. And then a couple weeks ago it was like everything, all that money, we should have took out stock in Lysol, but now it really doesn't survive. And now it doesn't survive in 80-degree weather. How hot has it been here the past 2 days, Drew?
God, man.
So it's like, get out of your house, you crazy fucks. Like, dude, I literally have like family members and like friends of like people I know. Like, dude, they haven't left the house since March. Like, not even outside the house. Like, it's fucking July. And they literally were like 7-8 weeks where they did not go outside their house. Like, I can't do, dude, I got 3 kids, bro. I got to get outside the house. So, like, take a walk.
I don't know. I think I lasted like maybe like
you didn't go outside or
weeks,
nothing?
maybe. And that was when it was cold out. It was like, I mean, like, yeah, like just being like at the house. And well, actually, no, except for taking like my daughter to like her grandmother's, like that was it.
Okay, all right. Well, like me, I was like day one. I'm like, oh, I'm going. I don't give a fuck. I'm a different breed, bro. Like, you know that. Like, but like, no, obviously, like I was like a little nervous because at first I'm like, fuck this, and then I'm like, oh my god, everybody's nervous. But like, literally, like 3 days in, I'm like, this is ridiculous. So.
Yeah, I'm in from my computer like easy, like 12 to 15 hours at a time.
Well,
so at that point, like I'm just like, all right, well, turn around when work's done.
Well, that's not healthy either, Drew. We know that. You be in front of that computer like that. That's not healthy, and that's not healthy for people to, be like that, And
that's when I, had to like start with homework.
Listen, it's very easy to get into that thing. Hey, listen, man, I've been unemployed. It's real easy for me to crack a beer at 8:00 in the morning if I wanted to, but it's not a good habit. That was like the main thing. I remember when this was all going down, people are running to the liquor stores and shit. And Rand's like, oh, we should get drinks. And I'm like, I ain't bringing any booze into this house because it will just be a shit show. So I'm like, nope. And I'm like, we didn't even touch a drink for like 2 months. So like it was just like we were productive, we were getting stuff done, and I'm like, we need to have clear minds if we're going to approach this. Like, we really and that's just kind of what we did. And it was just that was the choice we made because we had to make sure Gav was on focus with the school, and we had stuff we wanted to get done around the house, and I had to be able to think about how do I keep my business going, so hopefully we can bounce back from this, and so it was just at the time the right thing to do. So, but now it's getting nice. So them claws are around every once in a while. So, but yep. So, what do we got going on this weekend? We might have an interview for you guys. We're not 100% confirmed yet, so we don't want to make an announcement yet. But once we confirm, we will. If not, we got some fun stuff coming for you Saturday, and then our sponsors, Roll Junkie, man. If you guys haven't picked up something from Roll Junkie yet, you deserve to get slapped.
I'm pretty sure my wife stole one of my Roll Junkie t-shirts. It was the Shadow t-shirt, and I can't find it anywhere. I put it in the wash like a week ago, and it's gone. And I'm like, where's my shirt? I can't find it.
I know Ran bedtime shirts them from me, and I'm like, dude, those are my going out shirts. She's like, but they're so comfortable. She's like that, and she's like, and they fit you guys so well. She's like, it's always a nice shirt, it's always a nice fit. So, besides that, they got the geese, they got the spats, they got the You got them new booty shorts from them, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, they do. The nice man booty shorts, nice short
Yeah,
crafted
they are
shorts,
nice.
man.
They're very nice.
Probably
I
my
need
new
a pair of
favorite
that.
easily.
So, Roll Junkie, if you're listening, hook it up, kids. But hey,
Yeah.
remember promo code 2LiveFools, and you will receive 15% off your entire order. Use it, guys. Use it. Take advantage of it. Love it. Live it. And we have our Facebook page now. We're almost at 300 subscribers on our Facebook page. So thank you very much. And, our Instagram's growing every day and our shares. So, guys, if you guys keep listening, me and Drew will keep talking, man. All right. So, Drew,
Yes,
I will
sir.
talk to you soon, my brother. And to my fools, we'll see you later.
All right.
Hope you enjoyed.
Jiu-jitsu, when I hit you, then I split you.